So hello and welcome to all you sighted and non-sighted people out there to my video about all the things that I genuinely love about being blind. I will also be doing a video about all the things that I hate about being blind, and honestly when I started preparing for this video I made like a list, like hate things and love things, and the hate list is much longer, but it's just because there are so many little things. And on the other side, the love things, I had to think a lot more about them, but when I started to think about them, it went very easily to think of more things that I love about being blind. But I think that it's just generally, we don't think as much of the things that we love about something about the things that we hate about something. It's not just like me thinking about my blindness, it's like humans in general. So I wanted to make this video especially because it's Christmas, and like around this time last year I started to lose my vision. So I wanted to make this video about all the things that I love about being blind and celebrating my blindness. So the first thing is, it's a social icebreaker, honestly, because my blindness it depends on the situation. Sometimes when I'm walking, of course, alone or with someone else. Sorry, my phone, I just got a message. When I'm walking with someone or walking alone, and I'm having my cane with me, so my cane's out and I'm using it, like people know that I'm blind, and then when we start talking, or people just come up to me and say like, can I help you? Or if we start talking like on another way and they're like, oh, I see you're blind, what's that like? And they often have so many questions, and I always love to answer a question, especially if I'm like, I'm often the first person I meet that is blind, because blindness is not so... Stop it! No. Blindness is not that usual, so I'm often the first blind person people meet, and it's always funny and very interesting to hear what questions they have. So I love this part about being blind, being like someone special to the people, like, yeah, the first blind person they meet. It's very interesting for sighted people who had never to do with a blind person, and I love the interest about it because I'm living with it day by day, like 24/7 all my life, and I just love when people are interested about it and want to learn, like, what is it, how can I deal with it when I meet a blind person, what can I say, can't I say, like things, yeah, things like that. And yeah, it's just a conversation starter, and I always love talking with strangers about my blindness, because as soon as they start asking questions, then I know that they're comfortable with the situation. It's just when people are like, oh, she's blind, I don't talk to her because I may insult her, I don't know what to say, I'm afraid, or she's disabled, or like, this is what really guts me. Like, I don't like that because I'm just blind. I'm still a human. And when people ask questions, I really like that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is... the second thing is like, everybody's blindness is different. So there are the fully blind people, the completely blind people who just see black. And then they, even though I'm blind, but I still have remaining vision, I don't concentrate that much like completely blind people on other things. Like, they even concentrate more on sounds, on feelings, on touch than on smells than I do. But I'm blind, but I have remaining vision, so I can see lights, for example, and I still concentrate more than sighted people on touch and smells, and on my ears, like on the noise around me and the voices I'm hearing and the sounds I'm hearing. But like, everyone's point of view is different, everyone's view is different when you're visually impaired, when you're blind, if you have remaining vision, because even if you have the same disability and you have the same condition, like for me, okulocutaneous albinismus, everyone's view is different. So even if I'm talking to another person who has okulocutaneous albinismus, his point of view, like his view, how he sees things, can be so different. And I like that, like if you have 20/20 vision, like you all see the same. And for visually impaired people, we do not see all the same. Like if you talk with another visually impaired person, they understand me better than normal sighted people, of course, but they can't understand me fully, like 100%, because this person's view is is so different than the view I have, the sight I have. And so it's always interesting talking with other visually impaired people and other blind people to ask what they can see, and then to describe to each other, like, what can you see? And for me it's that way, and sometimes it's, oh, for me too, and the other, and then like another time it's like, oh no, it's totally different. And even if you have the same condition, it's so interesting. And this makes like the world so much more unique to us in the viewing part, because like our sight is so unique and it's so much more special than someone who has 20/20 vision. What's of course more practical and so much more useful, but like I like it that it's unique. And like different views, different sights of different people who are visually impaired are so interesting for me. Example, I love lights, because light is the only thing that I can see without straining. Like this is the only thing that comes to me naturally, without like concentrating on something like, whoa, what color is that? I have to really concentrate to see what color it is now. So like that's why Christmas is so much more special to me, because I just see the lights at Christmas, and at Christmas everything's lighted up with fairy lights and all kinds of lights, and that is why I love Christmas and why I love lights. And that's also a very special part for me, because other people just walk by something and I stop and say like, oh, these lights, they're so pretty, and the person who I'm with is always like, huh? What you talking about? It's just lights. But I'm then try to explain the situation that like maybe it's the only thing I see right now. And then they're like, oh, now I can understand. And this is why so little things make my day sometimes so much more special and so much more interesting than things that I think that to sighted people doesn't occur that much. Like, you don't stop somewhere and say like, oh, it's so pretty right now, because it's something usual for you. You can see perfectly every day. Even if you have glasses, we talked about that using glasses is, or needing glasses is not visually impaired. So yeah, I think that this unique point of view in every different kind of way, like just seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling for us, is so much more unique than someone who has 20/20 vision. The third thing that I love about being blind is that you learn so many new skills. I'm currently learning Braille and I love it. I'm learning a few different kinds of Braille. Also, for example, the Braille you need to study chemistry. And it's so interesting. I love reading Braille, I love learning Braille. It's just one skill, like reading with your fingers, that's so cool. I also like other skills you learn when you're going blind and when you're blind, like depending so much more on your hearing, for example. And also communicating with people. I learned so many things about communicating with strangers, especially since I'm blind and since I need like often help when I'm in public and when I'm traveling. And it makes things just so much easier in normal life when you know how to communicate with strangers. That's an ability that I did not have at all before, when I was visually impaired. Like, I was really bad talking to strangers, and now I get acceptable. But no, I'm trying my best, and this is also a skill that I love, that I kind of adapted since I'm blind. I also have to mention this because you get perks when you're disabled. It depends on the percentage of your disability. When I was visually impaired, I had 60%. Yeah, I had 60%, and now I am 100% disabled. And I get perks, for example, like I can take the trains and public transportation for free in all of Germany. If I'm traveling with my mom or with someone else, the person who's riding the train with me does not have to pay for public transportation. When I'm going to the cinema, then the person I'm going with does not have to pay for going to the cinema. It's like small things like that, or you get a discount on going to the cinema or going to a theatre, to a musical. Another perk that you get for being disabled is often that you can skip lines at airports, at train stations, at security, at any line there's often a line for disabled people, for people in wheelchairs, for elderly, for pregnant ladies, and this is the line I can also use, especially if I'm like with someone who guides me. So if I'm with an airport employee or a train, like Deutsche Bahn employee, that's the name of the train system we have here in Germany, you can skip all the lines because you're with them. And this is really cool because you get so much time out of it. Like, waiting for security at the airport takes you so much time. It's things like that that does not at all balance your disability out. It's just a small perk you get from the government because you're disabled. That does not make it okay to be disabled. It makes it just sometimes, yeah, less bad. Yeah, and also, like, I have to say that, I do not want to say that, but I have to say that the disability card. Okay? Every disabled person who's visually disabled, so I don't mean like who's visually impaired, but who's disabled so that the other people can see that in public, like me going up with my cane, someone in a wheelchair, he has his wheelchair, things like that, things that mark you as a disabled person. People are so much more friendly to us. I know that because sometimes I'm walking with my cane, even though I'm walking with another person, but in rare occasions I put my cane away because it's just easier, because it's so crowded, or because I don't need it, because I fully trust the person who I'm with, or I already know the way we're going and I don't need my cane because I know there are no steps, for example. And then I noticed that people are so much nicer when I'm walking with my cane than when I'm walking without my cane. So when I'm disabled than when I'm not disabled. Also, like in stores, in restaurants, things like that, everywhere where you have a disability card. And sometimes we use it. Like, sometimes when you're just lazy or you forgot something, or I don't use it like often. No, I really do not use it often, or like intentionally, like, oh, I don't have to do that because I can just use my, oh, I'm disabled, I can see. But sometimes I forget something, or I didn't think of something and I'm like, oh, sorry, I honestly, I didn't see that. And they're like, oh, it's fine, you're blind, it's fine. And sometimes it's also nice. I have to mention it. I hope I'm not sounding like some brute, some rude person who's just using their disability. But I'm not using it often. But sometimes something slips my mind, or I forget something that just even though this is not the fault of my disability, sometimes I just say, oh sorry, I didn't see that, or I didn't know that, and then people are so much nicer and polite to people who are disabled than to non-disabled people. And then, like, the last thing I want to mention is that I don't see people. Oh, yeah, of course, I don't see people, obviously. Obviously, I don't see people, but except they're really close to my face and the lighting is perfect. So when I'm out in public, I don't see people. So I think I have less judgment on the way people look like. And that's also a nice thing. I don't know how old they are. I don't know. Sometimes, most times you know if a person is male or female. But in some rare occasion you don't even know the gender you're talking to. It's really rare, but it happens. I don't know the gender. I don't know their looks. And it makes me less judgmental. It's a human thing. We all judge people in the first few seconds we see them. It's just natural. It's just how our brain works. And I do that too, but not on a visual basis. I do that on a sound basis. Like, I decide, my brain decides if I like someone by the way they're talking, by the way their voice sounds. I don't even decide, my brain doesn't decide if I like this person or not. If it's just if they are likable or not. This is something our brain does immediately, decide if a person seems likable. And I do that by hearing their voice and hearing how they talk and listening to what they're saying. So I focus so much more on the way people are speaking, on their accent, on their way they speak and pronounce things, about what they're talking and what they're saying to something. So I think that's also a good thing, that I'm less judgmental about the looks of people. That does not mean that I'm not judgmental, like, I'm still human, and I just balance it out with my ears. I judge people about how they sound. And I think that's also a perk because, yeah, it's like, again, I have to say it's a different point of view. I don't focus on the visual side, I focus on my hearing. And the last thing that I want to mention in this video is my eyes. I debated whether to say it in this video or just cut it out, but I didn't want to seem like narcissistic. But then I thought about it, and what's the whole point of making these videos? And a huge point of this is to show that disability is okay, that disability can be a good thing, and that disability, and especially people who are disabled, are normal, and you can approach us and talk to us and make it more accessible to sighted people, and also to embrace the person you are, to embrace your disability for other people who are disabled, and just in general, like, everybody should embrace the sides that make themselves special, that make themselves unique and different to other people. And that's, for me, it's my eyes, for example. My eyes make me different. My eyes make me also blind. But my eyes, the looks of my eyes, are also a huge part why I love being blind, because I just like the color of my eyes. I like how they look and that they're so unique. So these are like the most important things that I like about being blind, and as you see, there are things that are great about being blind and that I genuinely love about being blind. And I can't believe how often I say blind in this video, so yeah. These are just things that I really love about my life and about the skills I learned and the abilities that I have now and that I got out of my disability. So stay tuned for the next video about all the things, not all the things, like the main things that I hate about being blind. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we will see each other in the next video. Bye!